Hello. Hi. Welcome to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast. This is Cheer Chat, and I'm going to talk you guys through this episode called Count Me Out. So I'll wait for people to join, and then I'll get started. Happy Tuesday, you guys. I hope you all had a wonderful Father's Day. I kind of put my daddy on blast. Hi, Daddy. I should tell the story in case people don't know, but my father is a diehard Raiders fan. Fine. He lives in Vegas. He's ecstatic that they're going to be out there. But it was my last year cheering for whatever reason. Maybe he just was thinking I was going to do this forever. I don't know. But it just hadn't worked out where he got up here for a game. And this was his time to come to a game. And it was Sunday Night Football. I forget who we were playing. It was like around my birthday in November. Needless to say, this was a big damn deal. And he just did not have the heart to tell me that he really, really, really wanted to go to Monday Night Football. I forget who they were playing. Doesn't matter. But long story short, he ended up going to that game. That's why I don't have a picture of him in uniform on my Father's Day post. So I tease him about it to this day. I will forever tease him because I'm a brat, and that's just what brats do. But I hope you guys had a wonderful Father's Day with your fathers in your life. And I enjoyed seeing all the pictures from the teams. Oh my gosh, did you guys see the Colts cheerleaders did something really cute? It was like a makeup challenge with their dad, where they had to do game day makeup, and it was kind of hilarious. It actually was kind of cute. Man, one father just swore that he can make the face of makeup on a plate and somehow transfer that if you put it. It was maybe he was doing it for show. I don't know, but it was cute. Watching them struggle, I thought that was an adorable idea. So I think it's up on their Instagram. Check it out. It was really, really cute. What else did we celebrate recently? Juneteenth, you guys. I hope you use Juneteenth as a day to celebrate just where we are in terms of just some progress. I've never thought in a million years I would have Juneteenth off from work, but it was an opportunity to learn, to connect with people, take advantage of different marches and celebrations. I just think it was a beautiful thing. Okay, giggles. If my dog barks this whole time, I'm going to be really pissed. But anyway, there were a lot of teams that posted. I tried to reshare them all in my story so that people can see that there's still an embrace in our industry about this movement, and it's not something that's going to die down. I told y'all it wouldn't. We'd still be talking about it. So there were even I think it was the Wizards that ended up going on a march in the DC area. One of the former Redskins cheerleaders choreographed this concept video that was so dope to Freedom. Hello, that was the name of, was that last week's episode? Or whenever it was, one of these episodes, right? And it was just really powerful, and it was exciting to see people learning about it, and they'd never heard about it, and people sharing information. I mean, I think that's just kind of where we're at and what it's all about. So keep it up. And just sharing out what you learn. I just think it's just a way, again, to just keep the conversation going and celebrate, because the more you learn and the more you share, I just think the more you have the possibility of touching somebody. So I did a very bad thing, you guys. How do I hold the very first Pro Cheerleading Podcast contest? I mean, there was a lot going on, trust, but still. And I never shouted out the winner. Her name is Kelly. And if you guys recall, there was a contest that I was lucky enough to get like registration through PRO. They reached out and was able to provide one lucky follower a virtual registration code so that she was able to attend PRO over the weekend. Who else went? If you're there and want to okay, and first of all, you guys know that this is really just figured out as I go, but feel free to request me and I'll figure the shit out. This is us talking. So interrupt me. I will figure out how to edit it for the podcast. If you want to just chat but not be part of the podcast, just interact with me. It's all good. I'm trying to keep an eye on this. I'm trying to keep an eye on that. Hi, YouTube land. But it'll be more fun. So if you have anything to chime in at any point, if I missed your comment, just be easy with your girl. I'm trying. I'm really trying. Okay. But anyway, Kelly won the contest and she went to PRO, and I'm excited to hear from anybody else who ended up going. For those of you who don't know, PRO is traditionally a fun weekend in Atlanta where all the teams in NBA, NFL, different pro teams from hockey, like you name it, all convene for 2 days, dance their asses off. Whew, dance for like all day long, and just lots of dance classes of various styles. And so they have like jazz, funk, hip hop, kick, pom, like everything that you would do as a pro cheerleader. And they did virtual this year, and they danced from like 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. They had 5 classes each day on Friday and Saturday, like choreographers and team directors in the NFL, and I think in the industry, like some hip hop choreographers. Really big. I'm glad they pulled it off. It looked like it went off without a hitch from all the videos. People got together in studios and danced and took all those classes. It was 8 a.m. my time. I knew that my body was not, well, that, and I'm just not dancing like that anymore. But it looks like it was a lot of fun. Definitely, if people went, how did you survive? Are you still sore? I just remember when I went, it was just, I was fighting an injury too, but it was definitely action packed, and hell on the body was so much fun. And hopefully it was still good energy, even though you weren't in person. And that brings me to some sad news, because I was totally planning on going to Vegas next month to go to the Pro Action Dance convention. So let's have a moment of silence for the Rona causing the cancellation of that event, yet another event in our space. And it's just, you know, unfortunate. They've been doing a lot of live classes, you know, with some choreographers like, you know, Quentin, Michelle Vaughn, and Johnny. I'm acting like I'm first name basis with everybody, but all the other instructors that have traditionally taught at the convention. So maybe they will do like a virtual format of some sort, who knows? But they do have their classes. They encourage donations. You know, you have some wonderful choreographers taking time and teaching you cool routines still. I'm sure it's still going to be part of what they do. And I think they have like a paid version where you can download some routines or whatever. I did my research, really, I believe me, I did. But anyway, but they had to cancel all 2020 Pro Action Dance and Pro Action Prep events. So it's really, the Rona is just pissing me off. And Count Me Out is the name of this episode, because the Rona is forcing a lot of decisions, and, you know, we'll get to it, but I'm just wondering how you guys are feeling about just the opportunity to dance this year. We'll get to that. Or will you have to count me out? Like, I literally think about you guys all the time of like, if I were still dancing on a team, how would I feel? Like, would I be excited? Would I be like freaked out? Like, how would I want to like count me out this time? If you guys don't know New Edition, Count Me Out, then you'll learn tomorrow when I post the clip, and hope that Instagram doesn't kick me off. But that's kind of the theme. Okay, so cheer chats first. And I gotta quit recording the whole damn episode on live. You guys will stop downloading the episodes on the podcast, and then I won't have any downloads. I'm kidding. But this will be cheer chat. I'll give you a preview of what I'll be continuing to talk about for the episode, and you'll just have to listen to hear the rest of what I had to say. Okay, but I'm a little late because, again, you know, life goes on and things are crazy, but I completely missed this huge announcement yesterday. I'm sure you all have seen it, but for those who have not, 2 of our very own, if you guys have not looked at Nike.com recently, or if you don't follow Quentin and Napoleon from the Los Angeles Rams, they were honored by Nike for Pride Month for this campaign called Be True. And pardon me as I reference my notes, but the campaign is meant to celebrate the power of team, and just that you're stronger together for fighting for different issues. And they featured LGBTQIA+. I'm going to get that off the top of my tongue. But anyway, they picked certain athletes. There were only 6 of them, I believe. Yeah, and Quentin and Napoleon were 2 of them. And they just wanted to highlight that they were, you know, uplifting their community and using their voices for change. And they highlighted that they were the first male cheerleaders at the Super Bowl. And so, and I know people want to say Baltimore Ravens, but they were the first performers that are dancing alongside the women at the Super Bowl. Okay, so don't come for me. But I wanted to share some of their quotes that were on the website. And you guys, it's just so cool. It's just like, it has to be such an honor. But Napoleon said, we are all here to express our shared passion. If you don't have your teammates' backs, then you're not all in. And I thought that was pretty powerful. You have to kind of support one another and all the way, like having your teammates back. And that's how you actually can make a bigger change and impact together. In Quentin's quote, he was, quoted for encouraging you to be allies for one another and to follow their dreams. And he said, don't try to make other people feel comfortable. You weren't put on this earth to abide by somebody else's rules. So I thought that was just like, yes, just be true, be who you are, and be unapologetic about it. I just thought it was awesome. And Nike, they're actually going to be giving grants of $25,000 each to 20 different organizations that are advocating for the LGBTQIA plus community. And they also, which is super, super cool, have a Be True 2020 collection of merchandise. So they have an Air Force One and Air Max sneakers. So cute. I do like the Air Force Ones best. They have the rainbow and they're just, clean and just look really, really good. And they have, some t-shirts, socks, sunglasses, and then like a digital gift card if you want to give somebody in your life. And supporting, I don't know that the proceeds really go towards anything if you get the gift card, but either way, it's Pride Month, you guys. So celebrate, you know what I'm saying? But congratulations to the both of them. I think they've gotten so much wonderful press and just been able to inspire so many men to audition for the NFL, probably NBA as well, in terms of different teams where male cheerleaders are getting the opportunity to dance. And it's beautiful. So I'm a little late, but whatever. We're going to pump it up for them. So congratulate them. Go check it out. I'll have a link to the website in the show notes. The next topic is the NFL auditions update. So I thought it was cool that the Miami Dolphins cheerleaders are kind of conducting, they have 40 rookie candidates and 18 vets that are coming back that are in their finals. And one thing that they're doing is having like a Instagram live session where they interview the candidates, the finalists, one by one. And, the fans get to ask questions. I thought it was a cool way to kind of bring us into their auditions process. It's, I believe, their director that's there and, kind of interviewing them on the spot. So what a way to show your personality and to kind of show that you can handle, social media, right? I haven't been able to tune into all of them, but I think it's just a cool way, maybe something, people copy each other. So be prepared for that potentially. If you're still in the process, maybe that's something that other teams will adopt. Okay. You guys see these pom-poms in the back. The Seahawks are my team. I know and love the director. This is not to talk crap about anybody. It's just, I was struck by the timing of a decision that I posted about last week. The Seahawks were in their finals and basically, I don't know the reasons, don't know the backstory. I'm not suggesting that it was just intentional or whatever. But, the bottom line is they were in the finals and they basically decided that they were only going to be moving forward with the rest of the auditions process with their 2019 squad. So, that just hit like, ugh, like right here. Like I posted, I'm so sorry to everybody who, they were in their finals and there was like a solo. Let's just be real. People have been preparing for this for a very long time. They're excited about the opportunity. They're working hard. They're eating right. They're doing all these things to be ready and to respect the process, right? To meet the requirements that are laid out of what the finals or the auditions process will be like. And so that includes, trying to plan your life and the potential relocation and just trying to stay, invested in the process. Meaning like if you're a finalist for the Seattle Seahawks, that you're probably not going to spread yourself too thin in different, teams auditions processes just because you kind of are having to put your eggs in one basket. Let's be real. Like you can't just be doing the most and doing a bunch of different auditions. It's hard to, I would imagine that would be frowned upon even at a certain point, but it was just really unfortunate timing. I know I reported earlier about the Jacksonville Jaguars that didn't hold auditions at all because they were planning to take back their prior year's squad. And I think at least they didn't, not even lead them on, but just like that was just the decision that was made at the outset. To have the decision come by, hello, somebody said hi, so I'm saying hi. To have that kind of decision come down so late is just, it's just, all I could say was not cool, in the sense that, like, I'd be pissed. I'm going to keep it real with you guys. Like, this isn't about being pissed at anyone or blaming anyone. I'm sure there must be some reasons, but damn it, like, if I were in that process, I would be hella disappointed, frustrated, and just, what the hell, man? Like, and I've been hearing from different people that other teams are in the same boat of having to kind of quietly take back their veterans, whether they were mid-process or not, like where they basically knew that the whole finals thing wasn't in person, probably wasn't going to pan out. And some that haven't announced that they were going to do any virtual auditions. I think that's kind of where they landed. Some we're still waiting for to make some sort of announcement. The bottom line is y'all have been in hella limbo, and it scares me to think that, people can just like change it all up last minute and like just yank the carpet from underneath you. That's just not, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not right. It doesn't feel right. And I really, really feel bad for the people who are really excited about being part of the team, and hopefully they'll get to bypass some rounds, or like, what do? You just kind of, I don't know. I just feel for you. I had to talk about it just like I talk about anybody else. So, I love my Hawks. I love the organization. I know shit happens, but that was really shitty, for the record. Okay. I mean, and it's probably Rona related. Let's be real. Who knows? The logistics of what they're going to have to do for this season in the NFL, for NBA. I mean, it's a complicated order. So I'm sure maybe it seems simpler to have people that are familiar enough with what's required to be on the field on game day, perhaps. But you're also counting out your rookies who have to be down for whatever. Like, if you're going to do this, you guys, this year, if you're not saying count me out for 2020, 2021 season, you're kind of buckling up for whatever. And I mean, maybe the rookies would have adjusted because they don't know any different, right? This is their first time on the team. They don't know what it's like. So it's just kind of unfortunate. But again, this episode is called Count Me Out because the Rona is having its impacts, and we have to figure out, like, it's not even figure it out. Like, if you're in it, you made a team, you're in the process, you're just devoted, it's a bunch of open questions and no information, and you're just rolling with it. Okay, but I'm going to just keep it real and just talk you through some current events and help you think about how this might apply to you, because I don't know what information you're getting. And I just have not had time to be on some like interviewing spree to see what directors would be willing to share with me, whatever they do know. With the likelihood they probably wouldn't have enough information to share. I do believe my dog is trying to break up in here. So if it gets on my nerves, I'm going to open the door. Any questions, pipe in. But I just want to give you guys kind of like a preview of what I will be discussing for this episode. Basically, if you haven't heard, there are players from several teams, at least in the NFL, who have tested positive for the Rona. I'm calling it the Rona. It's just not COVID and Corona. It's just not happening. But this was like 1 week in June. So they had one Bronco player, one 49ers player, two Bucks players, 6 Cowboys and Texans. And the article wasn't clear if it was 6 Cowboys and 6 Texans. But the bottom line is groups of guys who've probably been getting together for the off season to try to, not even off season, like we're here. We're like in where they're supposed to be, like in the season. And they have like these private workouts where like Russell Wilson will go down to California and get a bunch of the offensive line and different players together to practice together. It's informal and it's before the official training camp. But basically the NFL Players Association had to kind of like kibosh all of that action. Like, y'all need to stop all these private workouts. Because, there are different spikes that are going on in different states with infections. Is that what we're calling it? Yeah, whatever. The Rona, basically certain parts of the country like Arizona and Florida, even Washington, I think is even spiking. Like, basically it ain't safe. It ain't safe. It ain't safe. It's just not, right now. And the NFL still keeps insisting that they're going to be having the season on time. And I don't know, I'll just tell you what they're talking about doing. And again, maybe because the cheerleaders will be in like virtual practice land where they won't be physically in person, or maybe they won't be able to practice at the facility anymore because that's more people they got to worry about spreading germs and whatnot. But anyway, the NFL and the NFL's Players Association, they are, trying to work out a protocol of, what players are allowed to do and like how they're going to conduct workouts and how they'll be tested. And, it just sounds like a lot to manage. And again, if we're considered essential employees that are part of that game day preparation, just think about what this might mean for you in your life, with constant testing, how you're going to have to practice, like tracing your steps and stuff of like, where you been? And like, who knows? The NFL is not with the bubble nonsense like the NBA. They've made it clear that that's not going to work. And so, people are just going to be, that's a huge roster of guys and that's a lot of people on the field. And these teams are at least of like 30 or so individuals. So lots of opportunity to be concerned about your health, frankly. I mean, this is so bad, but my daughter ended up saying something like, is the Rona just kind of going to be like STDs where you just like hope you don't catch it and try to be safe, but it's basically a risk that's not going anywhere? And I was like, you know what? That's, I mean, it's not clear that we're going to be getting away from this anytime soon. And so it's just like a known risk that people are going to have to work around to some extent, right? But I just wanted to give you a little highlight of other things that I'll be discussing because it's hella detail oriented and I don't want to spend the whole time during cheer chat, but just know that this is actually also impacting obviously the college athletes. And I'm just going to give you some stats of who's infected there. So they had 28 players from Clemson, 30 athletes from LSU, 8 from Alabama, 13 from Texas, 6 from Houston, 14 from Kansas State. So these are college football players who ended up getting called back to do some workouts, whether they were, it's not exactly like NFL, but like basically they were there for workouts. Okay. And they have, that's a lot of people for a roster of athletes. And these are unpaid, primarily Black college athletes that are, if you guys have seen some of the articles and the comments from people who just really flat out don't give a damn and are just like, make them play and, just basically wanting football that bad where they just don't even care about the risks that they're exposed to. And, I'll talk about it in the episode, but, some of these football players are standing up, like UCLA, there were like 30 of them that signed this letter, kind of like outlining like bare minimum, like, you're not going to have us out there like that. Like they're the ones risking it all. And so that the $1 billion NCAA industry and all these coaches that make so much can continue to make their money. It's not right. Like if it's not safe for people to go back to college, my niece is planning to go to college in the fall and they're talking about virtual learning because that's probably the only thing that's going to be safe. So how is it safe for them to play freaking football? Don't get it. Okay. But we'll talk about it. I was glad that they stood up because it's kind of like, you're not going to keep us in the dark on this. And we're just going to like rely on you to figure it all out, especially when you're just sending us out here so early on. But it's something to think about. And it starts obviously with kind of like the athletes that get the most attention, like the college football players or the basketball players, but it's going to trickle down and it's going to affect you as dancers. I don't really talk about college dancers on this show very much, but we're all kind of like in this together. So think about how this affects you. And then just like an update, kind of like on the NBA as well. I don't know if you guys are following that, but there are players that are not really filling the whole bubble in Orlando. They have some crazy, crazy rules that they kind of have to follow to even be part of that bubble. And, there's risk of injury. There's risk of exposure to COVID, and then there are players, Steven Jackson that kind of was like very vocal about it and some others as well. Kyrie, God, I'm about to screw everybody's name. But the point is there are players that are speaking up that now's not really the time to focus on basketball, like sports. Like, we're in the middle of a pandemic. we've got, a human rights crisis here with Black Lives Matter, and we have everybody's attention right now on the right thing. And like, when are we going to stop putting sports and money and fame and all of that over humanity? And, if any players refuse to play on that basis, you get my utmost respect. I think it's a big decision. They're pushing for certain protections for the players that choose not to go, so that they're not, overly penalized. I think the college athletes want the same kind of protection as well. But I just want to kind of like open it up to you guys to kind of get your thoughts too, because at the end of the day, again, you all will be impacted by whatever is deemed, the safe way to proceed with the season. And they might make some big changes to what your experience is like as a pro cheerleader. Like, maybe you're not dancing on the field during the quarter breaks. Maybe you're doing the performance ahead of time and they're taping it and they're going to put you up on the jumbo screen instead of actually having you on the field. Maybe there's going to be less of you on the field at a time for a game. Maybe not everybody's going to cheer every single game. Who knows what they're going to do to kind of work around this issue, mitigate the amount of risk to exposure on game day. And I just, again, there's also practices where you're going to have to still devote a good amount of your time to preparing for whatever the season's going to be like. But I call this episode Count Me Out because I know that I would be excited, but also just kind of like, is this the experience? Like, I would hate for anybody to have a really it's going to be like a sterilized, completely toned down, potentially not fans in the stands, like just a weird and different experience to be out there. And I'm not trying to tell people not to do it. It's just questions that I know I'd be asking myself. I'm definitely curious to understand what you guys think about. Are you worried? I mean, is it that big of a deal to like just have this dream like right here, right now? Are you excited about the challenge of kind of like gambling around with your health, of, trying not to get sick? We still have like the regular old flu season, you guys, and, heading into the fall, where you have when you're on a team, you just trade germs, like somebody's sick, pretty much the whole damn squad's sick. Like, it's just, you're in tight quarters. It's not just the Rona that people are going to be, getting sick from in the next couple of months. I'm worried. I think a lot. These are things that I've questioned. And I would say for myself personally that knowing that the experience of game day is probably going to be very, very different. All the thrills that I get from cheering in front of people, having my family in the stands, except my daddy, of course, or whatever. But you know what I mean? Like, I think if all of that were to change significantly, all of that hard work is not going to have the same payoff and reward. You know what I mean? And interacting with fans, and as much as we're taking pictures and posing and having a lot of interaction, with the mask on, and maybe that's just the new world order and I need to get over it. But I just feel like it's going to significantly change and alter what your experience is like as pro cheerleaders. And I also just kind of want to point out, similar to what some of the considerations that NBA players are thinking about, and whether this is the right time to play the sport. I just have, kind of been hearing from different people the impacts of, the last few weeks on squads. Like, again, we had the town hall with pro cheerleaders, and I haven't forgotten about like all of the concerns that were expressed. And I think, it's just really going to be interesting to see how the teams have each other's back or not, and how they move forward together, hopefully in light of everything that's going on with BLM. And just because I think there's more division, you guys, than at least I'd like to think we're all on the same page on this, and we're unfortunately not. And I just think that, being a part of these teams and not maybe having an opportunity to talk things out, it's really going to kind of impact, because I don't think this issue isn't going anywhere. I think whether teams choose to ignore it or just not have it touch the cheerleaders, I just think it's really going to influence like how you'd feel about being a part of the team. are people going to be kneeling more because of once the football season starts? Is this something that's going to like, you know what I mean? Like rock your core where you just, from an ethical, principle perspective, that you're just not feeling like you want to be associated with it. It's stuff to think about. I would be thinking about it. Again, a good number of teams have gotten behind the movement in some form or fashion. Not all of them, though. And one thing that I know I was a little, I won't say hesitant, but I wasn't sure from having the town hall and just plenty of sidebar conversations with people, how people really felt about me trying to use this platform to kind of create not necessarily like the open letter to the NBA where I was like full on blast, like going hard in the paint and very unapologetically like going off because of, the stuff that happened a year ago and the way that women were treated when they disbanded these teams. It's up on the story, it's up on my feed at some point if you want to go back and look. But just, I'm feeling very drawn to trying to summarize and present on behalf of the industry as a whole, just based on things that I've heard from people and like learnings from the episodes that I've had talking about it, how this impacts pro cheerleading. Like, I just feel like maybe team conversations are happening, but maybe there's just some benefit to having like me try to put it in words what I've been hearing from you. So it doesn't have the same tone as the open letter, frankly. It's more ideas or expectations of how you guys should be able to use your platform, what you'd like to see from teams in terms of that freedom to use your voice. And so I'm going to take a crack at it. Life has been a little crazy lately, but I am committed to trying to do that because I still think it needs to be done. So if you have any input, there have been so many people that have reached out. I've really learn from you guys what you're experiencing and what's important to you. And I'm going to just try to capture it. I think it's worth capturing. I think again, we can't just miss this opportunity to say something, and hopefully you guys are acting within your own right, within your team, finding ways to connect with one another and move forward and implement some changes. But our industry can use some changes. Okay, so I'm going to just try to articulate them. But that's kind of a preview of Cheer Chat for this episode. I really do want to hear from you guys, though, how you're feeling going into this. And obviously you're excited, and I'm excited for you. I'm also just, concerned because there is a little bit of like this stubborn vibe of we're going come hell or high water. We're going to play, we're going to have games. And I'm just seeing, it's not a consistent way and approach of trying to make sure that everybody is safe. And there's no right answer. I'm sure everybody's still trying to figure it out. But how are you guys really feeling about it? Like, are you conflicted? Are you in the dark? Do you have all the information that you need? Have you talked to your doctors about like what you can do, if anything? Like, do you have any expectations as to how you're going to engage and feel comfortable? Should you have an option of virtual practices so that if you aren't feeling comfortable, that you can participate that way? These are questions that I have. And I will share some more information with you guys and talk about it further in the Count Me Out episode. But I'm going to open it up to comments here, requests if you want to join me live, anything and everything before I sign off. This is like that awkward point during Cheer Chat. But I'm going to pause because sometimes I don't give people a chance and then, whatever. But it's good to see everybody. Thank you so much for joining. I really care about what you guys experience, and I hope that I'm sure they're working towards making sure you guys are safe. It's just a lot of uncertainty, and as more information comes out, and of course, it's all about what the players are going to deal with. I'm just thinking about y'all, that's all. So if nobody has any comments, and I hope that I've been following them, I think so. What about you in YouTube land? Any questions that you guys have? If not, the episode will be live tomorrow, and I look forward to sharing probably over the weekend, like what I come up with. And again, if you want to add your 2 cents, if you're going through something with your team right now, if there's ideas that you have or changes you want to see, hit me up, let me know. I will incorporate it into, the statement, for lack of a better word. So take care of yourselves. The Rona is not over. Oh, states are opening up. Wear the annoying, irritating masks. Not yours, Tara. Tara's are fine, but I'm running out, so I don't even know. I gotta get some more. The point is, stay safe, and I will talk to you next week if nobody has anything. Bye, you guys.